But can't we talk this out like adults?
Yeah, let's talk it out like adults.
You came all the way over here for that?
Underneath that cool, slick, handsome exterior lies the brain of a weirdo.
Beneath the stage lights and the cheers of millions of fans, the Partridge Family hid a world full of mystery and tragedy. Premiering in 1970, the show told the story of Shirley Partridge, a widowed mother who led her children to form a pop band. But the behind-the-scenes stories were even more dramatic and painful than the onstage performances. Few could have guessed that behind its massive success, David Cassidy, the teen idol, was exploited to the point of earning only $600 a week, and his father, Jack Cassidy, sank into jealousy that led to a deadly tragedy. Even more heartbreaking actor Danny Bonaduce had to endure abuse to the extent that the entire cast took turns letting him sleep at their homes. So what are the hidden truths that fans rarely know about this television phenomenon? Let's explore them in the video. 20. Strange facts about the Partridge Family.
What's really wrong with calling it off with Sally anyway?
Everything.
20. Susan Dey faced immense pressure from the show and cut all ties with the former cast. Susan Dey, who played Laurie Partridge, had to endure a hidden dark side behind the glitz of the Partridge Family. As a young teenager, she became a screen idol, forced to follow the strict beauty standards of 1970s Hollywood. The pressure to maintain her figure caused Dey to become obsessed with her weight dieting so severely that she once survived on just carrots, turning her skin a yellow-orange hue. These silent tragedies reflected the fragility of a young girl forced to grow up too fast in the whirlwind of fame. After the Partridge Family ended in 1974, Dey almost completely cut ties with the former cast. While Shirley Jones and Danny Bonaduce often appeared in reunion shows, Susan firmly refused all invitations. The last time the public saw her alongside David Cassidy was at the 1990 MTV Video Music Awards. Afterwards, she focused on her own career, shining as attorney Grace Van Owen in LA Law, and then quietly withdrew from the screen to preserve her privacy. What do you think about this? Truly sad, isn't it? Share your thoughts with me. 19. The guest star list left many viewers astonished. In addition to the main cast, the series also became a stop for young faces who later became A-list stars. Child actress Jodie Foster, before making her name in Taxi Driver, appeared as the daughter of a man pursuing Shirley and unexpectedly fell for Danny to the point of punching him in the eye. Farrah Fawcett, the 1970s sex symbol, once played a sultry girl hired to help Danny and Ruben take down veteran actor Harry Morgan. And that's not all. The two angels, Jacqueline Smith and Cheryl Ladd from Charlie's Angels, also left their mark in their appearances. The show also featured other impressive names: Michael Ontkean, Ray Bolger, and Margaret Hamilton, Louis Gossett Jr., Charlotte Rae, Tony Geary, Nancy Walker, and Mark Hamill, who would later become Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Even legendary singer Johnny Cash made an uncredited appearance, making the series an unexpected hub for multidisciplinary stars. But perhaps the guest who left the deepest impact was Meredith Baxter, later famous for Family Ties. During her time on the show, she and David Cassidy had a brief but intense romance. However, the grueling touring schedule made it hard for them to maintain the relationship. When Baxter was cast in the new series Bridget Loves Bernie and fell for co-star David Burney, the short-lived romance ended, leaving an unforgettable scar on teen idol Cassidy's heart. 18. Danny Bonaduce longed to be friends with David Cassidy but was rebuffed. For Danny Bonaduce, David Cassidy was more than a co-star. He was a role model, the big brother figure the 9-year-old secretly longed to be close to. Backstage on The Partridge Family, Bonaduce just wanted to be near the older star, sharing moments off-screen. But the age gap and differing lifestyles made every attempt at connection seem to end in disappointment. The peak moment occurred during the filming of The Last of Howard on a yacht. Excited to fit in, Bonaduce tried to enter the cabin where Cassidy and friends were smoking marijuana. In the moment that seemed like he was joining the adult world, Bonaduce almost took a hit when Cassidy suddenly appeared. He yelled, scolded his friends for letting a child be there, then pulled Bonaduce out, bluntly declaring, "If no one's watching you, I will." For Bonaduce, it was an awkward shock. He was embarrassed to be called a child, but at the same time felt safe, and from that moment their relationship could never improve. 17. Shirley Jones declined the role of Carol Brady because she didn't want to be a kitchen-bound housewife. In 1970, Shirley Jones faced a critical career crossroads. Raising 3 sons with her husband, Jack Cassidy, she wanted a steady television role to continue her art while staying close to her family. When the Brady Bunch producers offered her the role of Carol Brady Jones, flatly refused. She didn't want to become a TV mother confined to the kitchen, making sandwiches lacking agency and character. An image she felt did not reflect her true self or artistic potential. Instead, Shirley Jones accepted the role of Shirley Partridge in the Partridge Family. This role allowed her to showcase her voice and passion for music while placing her at the center of a modern story, a strong widowed mother raising her children while leading them to conquer the musical stage. This decision marked a turning point, freeing her from the housewife stereotype, establishing her as an independent, proactive woman and cementing the Partridge family's legacy in American television history. 16. Cassidy was exploited, earning only $600 a week. Can you believe that David Cassidy, the show's golden boy, earned the harsh truth of only $600 a week? Bitterly, that sum was reduced by 10% for his agent, 15% for his manager, and there was no recording royalty. While his image was everywhere from lunchboxes, t-shirts, posters to board games, Cassidy received not a single royalty dollar. Entertainment companies and merchandise producers made millions from the teen idol craze, while he, the central figure, was trapped in an exploitative contract that didn't allow him to claim any additional rights. Cassidy's fame reached a frenzy, stadiums, packed crowds pushing to touch him, and sometimes returning home to find strange women lying in his bed or camping in his car outside. Yet behind the stage lights and smiles, the truth was a bittersweet tragedy. A global star turned into a money-making machine for others. Even girls sending allowance money to join David Cassidy's fan club didn't know that their money went to strangers instead of their beloved idol. What do you think about this wage and the exploitation Cassidy endured? Share your thoughts below. 15. David Cassidy's fans created a tragedy. After the show, David Cassidy became a global pop music phenomenon. His appeal exploded so strongly that his official fan club was reportedly the largest in pop music history, even surpassing the fanatic communities of Elvis Presley or the Beatles. Millions of teenage girls around the world hung his posters on their walls and sent letters to the fan club, turning Cassidy into the teenage prince icon of a generation. However, this fame quickly turned tragic. On May 26, 1974, during a concert at White City Stadium in London, with around 35,000 attendees, the frenzied crowd caused a terrifying crush. Nearly 800 people were injured, over 30 hospitalized, and most tragically, a 14-year-old girl named Bernadette Whelan died from suffocation in the front row. Just 4 days after the tragedy, David Cassidy appeared in public with a heavy heart, declaring that the incident would stay with him for life. He confirmed he would no longer organize massive tours. "I'm not retiring. I'm just not doing concerts anymore." 14. David Cassidy and the complicated family relationship with Shirley Jones. David Cassidy joined the Partridge Family in 1970, carrying much heavier baggage than a typical young actor. He was the son of actor Jack Cassidy and Evelyn Ward, later becoming Shirley Jones's stepson when she married Jack. The remarkable fact is that when auditioning, David had no idea that Shirley, his real-life stepmother, would play his mother on the show. The moment they realised this surprised both of them and, unintentionally, placed David into a world overlapping between reality and the screen. Acting alongside Shirley Jones brought David double pressure. On one hand, he had to portray Keith Partridge, the leader of the family band, confidently and charmingly enough to be the centre of the show. On the other hand, he had to prove that he was not just Jack Cassidy's son or Shirley Jones's stepson, but an independent talent. Jack Cassidy was a famous stage performer, but known as a strict, demanding father who often made David feel undervalued. In contrast, Shirley Jones was the opposite, an Oscar-winning actress and a gentle, encouraging mother. 13. The producer's first choice for Laurie was Olivia Newton-John. Few know that the producer's first choice for Laurie Partridge was not Susan Dey, but Olivia Newton-John. However, Olivia declined the offer to pursue her own music career. Ironically, a few years later, when the studio was preparing to produce the musical, Grease 1978's Susan Dey was considered for the role of Sandy, a part that would later become a global icon. But this time, Dey followed her manager's advice and declined, leaving fate to cast Newton-John as the female lead, creating an unforgettable mark in pop culture. 12. Achieving extraordinary success. The Partridge Family officially premiered on ABC on September 25, 1960, scheduled right after The Brady Bunch, a strategic move by the network. At the time, The Brady Bunch had already attracted a large family audience on Friday nights, and ABC wanted to capitalize on the lead-in effect to create a popular family programming block. This decision placed the Partridge Family directly in front of its target audience, parents and children sitting together, looking for a show that was both funny and lightly entertaining. In terms of ratings, the first season ranked number 26 nationally, with around 11.9 million households tuning in. The second season accelerated to 16s, with 14 million households watching, confirming ABC's unexpectedly strong appeal. By the third season, the show remained in the top 20. Beyond television, the Partridge Family also made an impact in real life. As soon as the show premiered, the song I Think I Love You quickly rose to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1970, turning the fictional band from the series into a publicly sought-after real band. 11. Inspired by the Cowsills. The TV series The Partridge Family was actually conceived by producer Bernard Slade. The idea sparked when he happened to watch the family band The Cowsills perform on television in the late 1960s. The Cowsills from Rhode Island were a pop phenomenon with hits like The Rain, The Park, and Other Things, 1967, Indian Lake and Hair. Their appeal came from a large family playing music together, a familiar yet novel image in the pop culture of the time. Slade saw the potential to build a musical sitcom combining family life with entertainment. However, The Partridge Family was not a copy of The Cowsills. The clearest difference lay in the family model. While The Cowsills had a father, Bud Cowsill, as the manager and authoritative figure on screen, Slade removed the father figure entirely, replacing him with the widowed mother Shirley Partridge leading her children. There are anecdotes that the producers once approached the Cowsills to participate in the show, even suggesting their mother Barbara play the lead. But the family declined, partly due to disagreements over character portrayal and partly to maintain control over their image. Thus, ABC cast Shirley Jones and David Cassidy, making the Partridge Family an independent phenomenon rooted in reality, but fictionalized enough to be captivating. 10. The legendary bus was originally a Chevrolet Series 6800 Superior coach. The school bus in the Partridge Family became a 1970s pop culture icon, synonymous with the Partridge Family traveling everywhere with music. The original vehicle was a mid-1950s Chevrolet Series 6800 Superior coach refurbished for the series. Its standout feature, the brand identity, was the brightly coloured Mondrian-esque paint with red, yellow and blue blocks outlined in black, giving a modern yet bold look. On the back, the humorous phrase, "Careful nervous mother driving," was added, making viewers smile and reinforcing the image of widowed mother Shirley Partridge managing everything from family to work, even driving the tour bus. After the series ended in 1974, the legendary bus had a sad fate. It was repainted white and briefly appeared in the series Apple's Way before being removed from the set. For a time, it was abandoned behind a Los Angeles restaurant, gradually deteriorating with broken windows, flat tires, and faded paint. By the late 1980s, many records indicate the bus was sent to a junkyard and no longer exists intact. Do you remember this legendary bus? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 9. Chris Partridge was replaced for being too mischievous. In the first season of the Partridge Family, the role of Chris Partridge was played by Jeremy Gelbwax. But after only 25 episodes, the character suddenly changed actors with no explanation in the script. The hidden reason behind the replacement came from backstage. Gelbwax often showed irritation, was uncooperative, and engaged in mischievous behaviour that embarrassed the cast and crew. David Cassidy admitted that Jeremy clashed with almost everyone, and Shirley Jones said the boy was unhappy with acting, making the set experience heavier than expected. Besides his unpredictable temperament, Gelbwax was criticised in drum-playing scenes, a key feature of Chris's character, for appearing unnatural, disrupting the flow of the musical performances. For a show built on comedy and pop music, this became an unignorable burden. Ultimately, the producers had to find a replacement, and Brian Forster was chosen from Season 2. Unlike Gelbwax, Forster brought a pleasant atmosphere, easily fitting in with the main cast, and helping the production run smoothly. 8. Danny Bonaduce struggled with lines, having to shoot up to 36 takes. Danny Bonaduce. The mischievous boy playing Danny Partridge often struggled with memorising lines due to dyslexia. On one occasion, to complete what seemed like a simple scene, the crew had to shoot it 36 times. Each time he stumbled, the entire set held its breath and then laughed, but the tension gradually grew as production time stretched endlessly. For a fast-paced television show, spending dozens of takes on a small scene seemed unimaginable. Yet instead of harshly scolding him, Danny received patience from the crew. They believed that his innocence and natural comedic energy were what made audiences love the character of Danny Partridge. Are you impressed by Danny's performance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 7. All spin-offs or remakes failed. Immediately following the massive success of the Partridge Family, ABC and Screen Gems quickly sought to expand this musical family universe. The first attempt was getting together a spin-off starring teen idol Bobby Sherman. Introduced in the final episode of Season 1 of the Partridge Family, Bobby Conway stepped into the spotlight alongside his friend Lionel Poindexter. The duo played young musicians composing songs while struggling to make a living in an antique shop. However, unlike the Partridge Family's appeal, getting together failed to resonate with audiences. After only 14 episodes, the show quietly disappeared, becoming a textbook example of a short-lived spin-off. The next experiment was Partridge Family 2200 AD in 1975. This time, Hanna-Barbera collaborated with Columbia Pictures Television to place the Partridge Family in the futuristic year 2200, living in a Jetsons-style technological world. Some original actors returned for voice work, but the absence of David Cassidy significantly reduced the show's appeal. Despite the bold concept, the animated series lasted only 16 episodes before being cancelled and was quickly labelled a commercial failure. In 2023, the Partridge Family unexpectedly resurfaced in the news when an animated reboot project was announced. According to industry reports, the goal was to modernize the story of a musical family refreshed through contemporary animation language. However, details about the script voice cast or even the platform for release remain unclear. 6. David Cassidy sued Sony over royalties. The show's success exploded to the point that the song I Think I Love You became a music phenomenon, hitting #1 on the Billboard chart in 1970, selling over 5 million copies, even surpassing the Beatles' Let It Be during the same period. The Partridge Family band was nominated for a Grammy for Best New Artist in 1971, and the TV show received consecutive Golden Globe nominations. Yet behind the spotlight lurked silent battles. Years later, David Cassidy filed a lawsuit against Sony, alleging that the company had suppressed and delayed royalty payments and merchandise revenue from the Partridge Family name. Through arbitration, Cassidy was awarded £157,964.84. This was only a fraction of what he claimed to settle for profits that were allegedly withheld. These legal disputes revealed a bitter truth amidst million-selling hits and brilliant accolades. The singer actually behind the Partridge Family's success had to fight for his fair share. 5. Susan Dey had a secret crush on Cassidy but faced disappointment. Although Susan Dey was 2 years younger than David Cassidy, she always felt a special connection with him. Cassidy considered it a pure friendship, while Dey quietly nurtured deeper feelings. He would return from tours sharing stories about female fans and fleeting romances. Dey listened and supported him, but her heart ached each time. Shirley Jones, with a motherly sensitivity, pulled Cassidy aside and warned that his innocent boasting was hurting Dey. Only after the show ended did Cassidy realize his thoughtlessness and attempt a romantic relationship with Dey. Unfortunately, the timing was no longer right. They stopped at a delicate boundary, leaving a bittersweet, unfinished story in the memories of both and the fans who followed the Partridge Family. Following this, Dey confessed in her autobiography, Come On Get Happy, 1994, where Cassidy revealed sensitive details about their personal relationship. These private revelations were considered a betrayal, leaving Susan feeling hurt and offended. Even though Cassidy later claimed to have sent an apology letter, their relationship remained irreparably strained. 4. The Partridge Family home was also the house in Bewitched. The house in the Partridge Family is one of the most famous homes on the Warner Brothers studio lot, having changed owners multiple times in US television history. Before becoming the Partridge Family home, it was known as the residence of the Stevens couple and their nosy neighbour Kravitz in Bewitched. Observant viewers could easily spot this detail, especially when the brightly painted Partridge bus drove by, creating an interesting crossover between TV universes. Not only linked to Bewitched, the house also appeared in many other popular shows of the 60s and 70s, such as I Dream of Jeannie Dennis the Menace and The Donna Reed Show. Its distinctive appearance made it a silent star of television, contributing to a familiar, cozy atmosphere for millions of viewers. The house's journey didn't stop there. Decades later, it was revived on the big screen, appearing in the film Pleasantville, 1998, starring Reese Witherspoon and Tobey Maguire. From family sitcom to artistic film, the house became a visual, cultural icon, holding memories for generations of American audiences. 3. Cast members took Danny Bonaduce home to protect him from family life. Danny Bonaduce's family life was dark and violent, with his father abusing him physically and emotionally. The cast of the Partridge Family quickly noticed the danger signs and grew concerned for him. Among them, Dave Madden, who played the band's manager Reuben Kincaid, decided to take Bonaduce into his own home, giving him a safe haven amid the harsh Hollywood machine. Bonaduce fondly remembers his time living with the Maddens, even though the household was also full of parties and secret drinking escapades when guests weren't looking. Despite temporary protection, Bonaduce still faced serious consequences from his neglected childhood and the pressures of fame. Substance abuse issues haunted him for years after the Partridge Family ended, even leaving him homeless and living in a car at age 16. Yet his spirit remained strong. Whenever he appeared in public or signed autographs for fans, Bonaduce always wore a radiant smile hiding the deep psychological scars. 2. Only a few actors actually sang. Although it was a musical show, only David Cassidy and Shirley Jones actually sang on the official recordings. Everything viewers heard from Susan Dey, Danny Bonaduce, or the younger Partridges was cleverly lip-synced on camera. Behind the scenes, backing vocals and instrumental tracks were provided by professional studio singers like the Ron Hicklin Singers and contract musicians. Were you surprised by this fact? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. The show's success caused Jack Cassidy to become jealous. The tremendous success of the Partridge Family not only returned Shirley Jones to the spotlight, but also inadvertently ignited simmering jealousy in her husband, Jack Cassidy. Once a Broadway star, Jack found it hard to accept being overshadowed by his own wife and son, David Cassidy. The show's unexpected popularity further fractured his already fragile ego. In Jack's eyes, the time Jones and David spent together in public only deepened his sense of being pushed aside. But the jealousy went beyond ordinary irritability. He sank into alcohol and mental disorders, causing his behaviour to become increasingly unstable. Stories tell of him casually watering the lawn naked, or in a delusional episode claiming to be Jesus Christ. Behind the closed doors of this glamorous family lay a broken marriage that could not be repaired. Ultimately, Shirley Jones was forced to end the painful relationship with a divorce in 1975. Just a year later, fate closed Jack Cassidy's tragic story when he died in an apartment fire in Los Angeles, caused by a cigarette he had left burning. This vividly illustrated the tragic decline of a once brilliant star, ultimately consumed by jealousy, addiction, and mental demons. The Partridge Family was not just a simple sitcom, but also a cultural phenomenon of the 1970s. The 20 facts we've explored reveal many behind-the-scenes truths rarely known to audiences, from David Cassidy being exploited, Danny Bonaduce longing for brotherly affection, to Shirley Jones choosing a role that allowed her to raise her children while asserting herself. Which fact about the Partridge Family impressed you the most? Or do you prefer the show for its musical moments and family dynamics? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you love behind-the-scenes stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss upcoming fascinating posts about Hollywood films and untold secrets.